Smith.
Holy cow. Man, we'll take it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first edition of Jets Nation Radio. I'm your host, Joe D, alongside with the sports radio professor, Mike Demergis, and unfortunately, a Jet fan himself.
That's right, a long-time suffering Jet fan. Watched every Jet game since 1980, so I know the history, I know the legacy, and I know the pain of a Jet fan.
I'm feeling the pain for you after hearing that. That sounds like too many games that I wouldn't have wanted to watch.
Well, there were some good years in between the 80s, and we had Parcells in the late 90s, so we did have a couple of good years in there as well.
Well, I guess you consider those a couple of nice years, but from the recent history, I don't know about that. The last few years.
No, it's been rough, but let's get things started first off with yesterday's game. The Jets, a stunning win over the Buccaneers. First off, people say, well, maybe not stunning because it's the Buccaneers. But look, the Bucs were favored coming into the game. The Jets had a rookie quarterback. And let's give praise to Geno Smith. He really got the job done yesterday.
All hail the new king, Geno Smith.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't sing "Oh Hail the New King," but the guy got the job done. 24, 38, 256 yards, touchdown, interception. The defense played great. They really kept the Bucs offense in check. They held Martin to 65 yards. Freeman didn't know what the hell he was doing. 15 to 31 for just over 200 yards. Plus, of course, the big play in the game was the safety when they had him backed up against the end zone and he tried to kick the ball out of the end zone.
Here's the thing with Geno Smith. He's so versatile. He brings a different type of scheme to that Jets offense that Mark Sanchez couldn't do. If no one's open, he has the ability to go outside of the pocket, scramble for some yards, which inevitably helped them win the game at the end. Well, I guess you could say that Levante David helped them win the game.
Yeah, exactly. A bonehead play by him wound up costing them the game. I'll give this so much to Geno. I thought he remained remarkably cool, and you talked about the aspect that he has, that he could run out of the pocket if he feels pressure. He knew when to run. He didn't overdid it. It wasn't a run-first kind of option that he was doing. He saw that there wasn't somebody open, so he went, and he took off 47 yards rushing, led the team. His poise was really remarkable. He gave me and Jet fans way more than we thought we were going to have yesterday, put it that way.
Well, here's the other thing. In the first half, you definitely saw the rookie Geno Smith.
Yes, absolutely.
One drive, he throws his first interception. The first drive, he gets tackled, sacked, fumbled. The following drive, he throws an interception, and I'm sure all Jets fans were panicking there and saying, "Oh, here we go again." You know, we went from A to B, and we're still terrible on offense. But halftime comes, he looked like he was able to regroup, stay calm, and he had a great second half.
Yeah, that touchdown right before the half to Kellen Winslow was a big play, and we might have something developing here between Smith and Winslow. This might be the matchup that they're looking for, and I think it goes to prove, and the Patriots have done it better than anybody. You have a tight end that a quarterback can go to. That could be his best friend. He really did regroup. That the fumble in front of the goal line was a bad play. It put the Jets defense in a hole, much of where they've been the last 2 years. So I'm thinking to myself, here we go again. It's going to be Mark Sanchez too, but the defense only gave up 10 points really. Outside of that one fumble and the short drive they had there, the defense played remarkably well. Again, holding Martin to 65 yards, keeping Freeman in check. This is a defense without Darrelle Revis, so they prove they can get the job done as well.
And also, for Geno Smith's sake, I think the offensive line needs to help him out a little bit more. He was sacked 5 times, pressured and knocked down 8 times. So you don't want your young gun getting knocked around that early, so quick in the season. But defensively, they did show.
Well, let's stay on the offense a little bit. The offensive line has to improve too. Ivory was just 10 of 15, and Powell was 12 of 29. So the offensive line really has to come through again. Like you said, protect him a little bit better. He showed remarkable poise, but with this defense, and as much as we can shoot the bow at Rex Ryan for everything he says, everything he does, his defense has always been good. Even last year, as bad as the offense was, the defense held its own for the most part. So this offense has to start to run the ball a little bit, take the pressure off of Geno Smith, and take the pressure off the defense. And you know what? If that's the case, if they can do that, if they could start a running game, get that foundation going, get something from Winslow that no one really thought they would get. You never know. This team could maybe win 8-9 games.
8-9 games, I think you're pushing it. I think you're pushing it.
At best.
At best, I don't think they win more than 6 games at best. 8 or 9, that's a 8 or 9 might compete the last few weeks of the season for the playoffs. I mean, the AFC to me is.
No, this is not a play. This is by far
But
a
I
playoff
mean,
team.
8 or 9
You know,
wins. Eesh.
I'm doing the prediction that the defense is going to play well. They could get a running game going, and Geno Smith continues to mature. The funny thing being at the game yesterday, how fast you forget about Mark Sanchez.
Oh, I mean, he looked like a cheerleader on the side. He was trying to calm everyone down when Geno got tackled out of bounds over there with the last play of the game. But
It's remarkable. You could be the star of New York City one moment, and as soon as you have a couple of bad years, that's it. You're out. And Mark Sanchez wasn't even a thought yesterday. Another thing interesting from the game, the Jets chant, Jets, Jets, Jets.
yeah,
Fireman Ed wasn't at the game, so the Jets tried to give the fans, I was sitting in the lower bowl, these little flags. We had the E's, the J's were down farther, the T's were down farther.
oh, so it was a spelling contest.
Like a spelling.
It was a spelling.
Spell Jets. It doesn't say much for Jet fans.
Oh, that's great. They might as well have made
Anyway,
you say the
we
chant.
couldn't get it going. No one knew what they were doing. They tried to do it in the pregame, and we're like, what? That didn't go over too well. So I don't know who's going to replace Fireman Ed. That's a big issue now for home games.
I mean, maybe you should.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think anybody can carry me on top of their shoulders. I weigh too much these days.
I mean, come on. Jets. That's all.
Jets. There we go.
Oh man, the struggle. But looking back to Geno's performance, there's already been a ton of comparison between his first performance and Mark Sanchez's first performance back in '09, and both won, both threw for over 250 yards, and both had their first touchdown and first interception. So I mean,
Both play football and both play football for the New York Jets. I mean, how do you look at these comparisons? Two very different quarterbacks, two different styles,
two different teams.
Two different people. For a guy to take over his 20-yard line, 34 seconds, no timeouts left, and drive his team down for the go-ahead field goal is incredible. That showed poise. It showed confidence. Like I totally didn't expect. I'm in the car. I left the game early, I have to admit, so I didn't stay for the whole game.
You missed the best part.
I missed the best part.
Unbelievable.
Because So I'm sitting in the garage trying to get static with my father. And we're thinking the game's over. There's no way, because I couldn't believe the Jets let them drive all the way downfield for the go-ahead score. And they're never thinking they're going to pull this off. But when the late hit came, they got a chance here. I couldn't believe it. And then Folk comes in there and does it with all that pressure. First game of the year. And you got to realize these guys, too, haven't played much in the preseason. It's not like, 10 years ago, they come into these things a little rusty. We saw a lot of rust in a lot of NFL games last year. And you certainly saw it with the Bucs offense yesterday.
Well, here's the thing. That late hit definitely set them up. If that late hit doesn't happen, odds are it would have been a lot harder to get into field goal position to even put themselves in field.
Oh, clearly, yes.
To win the game. But the only thing I didn't like on that last drive from Geno is the first play. It was incomplete, but he's going right down the middle. Mm-hmm. No timeouts. Try to go for a sideline. You save some time.
Here's the problem with that: the defense isn't giving you the sideline. That's the only problem. Like they're giving you the middle. So sometimes you got to take what you can get.
But with the 34 seconds, there's no way if you continue to go up the middle, even getting to the line and spiking it, that you're going to make it in time.
It's your one shot.
So what I'm saying, the defensive player, I forgot who it was on the Bucs, was right on the wide receiver. If the wide receiver lets him catch the ball and tackles him right there, there's at least 10 seconds. Then you have another play that got him almost halfway. There's another 10 seconds. Now you're down to about 10 to 14 seconds left on the clock, and you don't know what happens. But still, you got to be mindful that he's got to be careful with his decision making in those when he doesn't have time on his side.
And speaking of decision making, Rex got a mulligan as well. His defense on that last drive when Tampa Bay went down the field and got the go ahead field goal. His defensive calls were pretty weren't the best at that time. So he got a little bit of a mulligan here.
Oh, absolutely. But I know you left the game.
Yes.
But I'm 100% sure that every Jet fan on that final kickoff was a little scared when Doug Martin got the ball and they started lateraling and trying to pull off something more magical at MetLife yesterday.
You never know what can happen in football. I've seen too many bizarre plays. I'll never forget the Tennessee game against the Buffalo Bills back in the late '90s when the Memphis City Miracle when Tennessee pulled it out at the last second there. So you never know what could happen at the end of games.
Well, if the Bucs would have pulled that one off, I think it would have fit the Jets season perfectly.
Well, it would have fit the Jets organization, let's say. So Jets overall, as a grade, I give them a B+. Geno Smith, I give him a B plus. Defense, I give an A. Offensive line, I give a B minus too. So I think overall the running game, C at best. So that's my grade for the Jets overall.
Overall, let's see. I'd probably give, as a team, a B minus. My whole thing is, they
overachieved here. Don't you see it, Joe? They overachieved.
Listen, they were given 5 points. Freeman, in the beginning of the game, the safety. Levante David gives them. I hope Rex Ryan sends the Buccaneers a basket thanking him, because the Buccaneers pretty much
1-800-Flowers or like
something
a
like
Candygram
that,
or something like that.
Because this helped Rex Ryan save his job somewhat, because at least they have a win going into week 2, and he knows he's on the hot seat. So I hope he has the common courtesy.
It's a large seat if he's on it.
Well, not as large, because the Subway diet's been helping, but
him and Jared.
But regardless, I hope he has the common courtesy to call Tampa Bay and say thank you for saving my job for at least another week.
Okay, now they have a short week coming up, which I think is a good thing with New England on Thursday night. New England did not look good yesterday in Buffalo's 23-21 win. Clearly, Brady's missing his tight ends. He's trying to mesh with his new wide receivers, Amendola and everything. It's not the same team. And they were talking about it on The Fan this morning, actually. They're catching, Boomer Esiason was saying that they're catching New England at a good time. And Boomer's right. They're catching New England early. He's trying, Brady's trying to mesh with his new receivers. This might be a good time to catch New England. And also, Stephen Ridley got pulled in favor of Shane Vereen, who happens to be a cousin of Ben Vereen, the famous singer and everything.
Oh,
and
wow.
He was the only 100-yard rushing running back of week 1 of the NFL season. A 100-yard rushing running back. That goes to show you how much this league has gone to the quarterback. 100-yard rusher to a guy I never even heard of.
And here's the thing with Shane Vereen also, along with his 100-yard rushing day, he did have 7 receptions for 58 yards. So he could catch it out of the backfield, he could run, he could hit that gap, and it's a better move for New England to have him and then Ridley. But also I agree that it is a good time because the Patriots aren't the same team, You bring in Amendola to replace Welker, and notoriously throughout Amendola's career,
It's a little brittle.
Very brittle. You could already see in week 1 he was limping off the field. Nevertheless, he did finish with 10 catches, over 100 yards. But still, you're putting all the pressure on Amendola. I wouldn't be surprised if he went down early again as well. So this could help the Jets out.
No, absolutely, and getting them again at the right time. Also, this help. The Patriots don't have a great defense. Clearly, maybe they get their running game going, get a little mojo going. That's one thing they got to get going. Like I said earlier, they got to get that running game going. So they might be catching New England at the right time. Can't believe I'm actually saying that because of what New England's done to us throughout the last 15 years or so.
Well, I don't think anyone will ever forget the butt fumble against New England, so that will forever live.
Oh, man, it's going to be a fun year with you, Joe. I tell you that much on Jets Nation Radio.
Absolutely, and thanks again for all you listeners out there. Make sure you tune in next Monday as we discuss Week 2. I'm Joe D. This is Mike Demergis. So long.
Let's go, Tito! Let's go, Tito! Let's go, Tito!